everybody and welcome to Learn with Zenith Guru. My name is Pratyaksha and today we will be continuing with the back exercises of Age of Industrialization. Okay. So the first question is women workers in Britain attacked spinning jenny. तो spinning jenny जो था उसे invent किसने किया था? He invented the spinning jenny in the year after its invention. A single labor could spin multiple threads एट अ टाइम. तो इसके इन्वेंशन से क्या होता था कि एक जो सिंगल लेबर थे, ठीक है, स्पिनिंग प्रोसेस में वो मल्टीपल थ्रेड्स यूज कर सकते थे, एक ही मल्टीपल थ्रेड्स बना सकते थे एक ही टाइम पे. तो इसकी वजह से क्या हुआ, दिस फैक्टर ऑफ spinning jenny it reduced the workforce requirement resulting in number of weavers, mainly women, losing their employment. This made women weavers furious and they attacked spinning jenny in Britain. Okay, so women workers in Britain attacked the spinning jenny. James Hargreaves invented the spinning jenny in 1964. After its invention, a single labor could spin multiple threads at a time. This factor of spinning jenny reduced the workforce requirement, resulting in number of weavers, mainly women, losing their employment. This made women weavers furious and they attacked spinning jenny in Britain. Okay. Now, the second question is, in the 17th century, merchants from towns in Europe began employing peasants and artisans within the village. ठीक है, तो ऐसा क्यों हुआ 17th century में? Expansion of world trade the 17th century, resulted in increase of demands as well. They contributed more in the increasing demands. Okay. The producers in the towns, they failed to produce the required quantity of demand. They failed to produce the required quantity अंदर. So expansion of world trade in the 17th century resulted in increased demand. Also, the colonies occupied contributed more in the increasing demand. The producers in the towns failed to produce the required quantity of demand, due to which they have to shift to the countryside for production. They have to move to the countryside for the production. Okay. There were associations of producers. Okay, there were these associations of producers that restricted the entry of new people into the trade. That restricted the entry of new people into the trade. Okay, and yes, and then they also had trade guilds. which granted monopoly to few. Okay, so expansion of world trade in the 17th century resulted in increased demand. Also, the colonies occupied contributed more in the increasing demands. The producers in the towns failed to produce the required quantity of demand, due to which they have to shift to the countryside for production. There were associations of producers that restricted the entry of new people into the trade. They also had trade guilds which granted, a monopoly to few. Now, the port of Surat declined by the end of 18th century. Now, why did this happen? हमने पढ़ा था ना कि पोर्ट जो था सूरत में और उसके बाद बॉम्बे, बंगाल, कोलकाता में, वो धीरे धीरे क्या हो गया था? इट डिक्लाइंड स्लोली. तो ऐसा क्यों हुआ? Ever since the European countries started gaining power, in Indian trade, are pre-existing trade routes, trade ports started declining. Surat port was one such port that declined by the end of the 18th century because of the same reason. ओके, तो ये हमने पढ़ा था ना कि किस तरह से जो ब्रिटिशर्स थे और यूरोपियन कंट्रीज़ थी, जब वो इंडिया के ट्रेड पे अपना कब्जा जमाने लगे, तो उसके बाद धीरे धीरे उन्होंने ट्रेड रूट्स जो थे वो भी बदल दिए. तो इसी वजह से हमारे ऐसे बहुत से पोर्ट्स थे जिनको हमने यूज़ करना काफ़ी हद तक कम कर दिया था. ठीक है, some of the ports got monopoly some of the companies got monopoly over the trade and established new ports for trading in Bombay and Bengal. Okay, so they started establishing new ports for trading in Bombay and Bengal. Okay, resulting in eventual decline of our old historical ports. Okay, So the question was, the port of Surat declined by the end of the 18th century. What are you going to write? That ever since the European countries started gaining power in Indian trade, our pre-existing trade ports started declining. Surat port was one such port that declined by the end of the 18th century because of the same reason. Yes, some of the companies got monopoly over the trade and established new ports for trading in Bombay and Bengal, resulting in eventual decline of our old historical ports. Now, the East India Company appointed Gomesthas to supervise weavers in India. So, they used to look after the cotton weavers, okay, that, you know, we have read about the Gomesthas, right? The East India Company appointed Gomesthas to supervise weavers in India in order to eliminate the pre-existing system of brokers and traders The Gomesthas supervised the weavers and made sure that whatever they produced went directly into the hands of British companies. They also kept an eye on the weavers that they may not sell their produce to any other trader else than the company. Okay, so that is why they were appointed, right? Quality check was also an essential duty of the Gomesthas, okay. So the East India Company appointed Gomesthas to supervise weavers in India. The East India Company appointed Gomesthas to supervise weavers in India in order to eliminate the pre-existing system of brokers and traders. The Gomesthas supervised the weavers and made sure that whatever they produced went directly into the hands of the British companies. They also kept an eye on the weavers that they may not sell their produce to any other trader else than the company. Quality check was also an essential duty of the Gomesthas. Also, I wrote it wrong here, it should not be companies, because East India Company was enjoying a monopoly, so it has to be a company. Now, okay, we have true false now. At the end of the 19th century, 80% of the total workforce in Europe was employed in technologically advanced industrial sectors. So, is it true or false? We know, right, that how difficult it was to get jobs. So, it's false. The international market of fine textiles was dominated by India till the 18th century. It is true, because India produced one of the most fine qualities, like it produced one of the finest qualities of silk and cotton. The American Civil War resulted in reduction of cotton exports from India. It is false. It resulted in Britain. The introduction of the fly shuttle enabled handloom workers to improve their productivity. This is true, but fly shuttle also took a few jobs. So, it is false, true, false, true. Another question, it is a detailed one. Explain what is meant by the proto-industrialization. Okay. So, proto-industrialization was basically जो industrialization से पहले का phase था, जब धीरे धीरे industrialization was taking the baby steps, उसको नाम दे दिया गया है proto-industrialization का. So, we'll start it with even before industries were established or on England and other European nations, there was a large scale industrial production for the international market. Okay, so there was this very large scale production for the international market, and this was not factory based. Historians often consider this phase as proto-industrialization This period consisted of skilled craftsmen. Okay, they had very skilled craftsmen who would, you know, make handmade things for the international market, who manufactured handmade things for the international market. So even before industries were established on England and other European nations, there was a large scale industrial production for the international market. This was not factory based. Historians often consider this phase as proto-industrialization. This period consisted of skilled craftsmen who manufactured handmade things for the international market. Okay, and with this we have completed the first part of our industrialization back exercises. The discussion questions we will be completing in our next video. So I hope you would have liked the video, and thank you for watching.